Hey guys, what's up? It's Eli Knight with Knight Jiu-Jitsu and Aperture, and Mitch and I are going to show some options for headlocks. I showed a video recently about some headlock defenses from standing, and today we're going to talk about what if the headlock happens on the ground. Now, this may happen in a little more technical of a context, like a gesekatami from judo or from jiu-jitsu, and that'll have some different considerations of how to escape. Or this may just be like a brawl and you got yourself stuck in a headlock and you need a way to escape that too, technically, so that you don't expend too much energy and you don't get roughed up too bad on the way out. And there are different variations of headlocks, and this is kind of the different context that we'll look at. So if we're going to start just kind of basic in a headlock here, what's happening is he's sitting beside me like this here, and he's got me wrapped in a headlock. The first one we're going to look at is he's got just kind of standard posture. He's got my head wrapped like this, and he's connecting his hands. Now, I'm going to go and make a frame because I don't want him to increase the pressure by pushing his head close to my head. So I go in here, the arm is from behind, I make a frame like this. I make sure to stay up on my side. I don't want to be flat during the headlock process. He can make a lot of pressure and crush me and make it hard for me to breathe. So when I make the frame here, 1, and then I reinforce my wrist, 2. You can go outside or inside, just depending on what he makes the room for. I use a thumb grip on my wrist here. I'm going to push this arm almost completely straight, and that's as far as I can push him with my arm right now. Now, if I scoot my hips up though, watch what happens to his posture this way, right? So now to help him the rest of the way over, this is as far as I can go with my hands, I'm going to take this leg, wrap over his head, and in the first scenario, he's going to let go here, this way. And I'm going to hold, I'm going to post, I'm going to cross my 2 legs like this. The bottom foot is in front of the top foot here. I want to adjust until his neck is between my knees, straighten my legs, extend and squeeze like that, and it makes a pretty painful and pretty solid choke like that. Okay. I'm up on my side, I make the frame like this, I scoot back, I use my leg to wrap over his head, but his grip is too strong. He's not letting go. I'm going to use this momentum to rock us up this way. Right? I set my weight back, both hands behind him at first so he doesn't throw me over, and then I put the hand here to clear, step over my own hand here. I can pull my foot in to adjust if I need to. The knees up nice behind his head. I make a frame like this, grab the wrist, and then I'm going to drive up like an airplane taking off here. Right? So we'd like to say I'm going to take off like an airplane, not like a helicopter. If I try to push straight up like this, it's a lot of strain on my neck and on my back. Right? So that's the second option if he hangs on the whole time and I can't break the grip and get that choke with the leg scissor like that. Let's talk about next, what if his base is a little too wide? Because if his base is wide, maybe his head is down instead and I can't make the frame as well. So let's look at that kind of situation. He's here, he's still connected. We're not to the punching one yet. His head is down, so I don't really have that good of a frame. Now, for all you people that want to talk about the reality-based self-defense stuff, I can reach up and claw his eyes and stuff like that. Just keep in mind that whatever I do to him right now, he's in a better position to do back to me, so a lot worse, right? So I'd rather just look at the structural elements that are gonna get me out of the actual position. So from that context, I wanna reach around his arm here like this. I wanna step up, because I know his leg is posted. It's not natural for him to be balled up in a little fetal position like this holding me. So this leg is usually out enough for me to hook onto. I'm gonna tuck this elbow in as I come up to my head and my knee on the other side here. Then I'm going to use my hands to keep adjusting and rolling over like this. And we wind up in a similar position like we did in that first one there. So I make the frame one more time, grab the wrist, push, take off this direction, break the grip. From there, if you want to go arm lock, take the back, stay here and bash him in the head, whatever the context dictates. The one that everyone's afraid of here mostly is the punching one, right? Because he can hold me pretty stationary here, and if I try to block any shots, it's not going to do a whole lot of good. I'm just going to get hit with my own hand instead, right? So what I'm going to do is, instead of reaching trying to grab this arm, I'm going to set the rails like this here. Now, whenever he places the arm here, as he's either rearing back or coming forward, and I'm going to find his wrist, 1, and come from behind, grab 2 here on his forearm like that. Once I have this isolated, now I'm going to do a similar get up as I did before on the previous one, where I step over the leg and start to climb here like this, but this time I'm not trying to roll him all the way over. So instead, I'm going to keep my head here in the headlock. I'm going to base out here. I'm going to come up 3 points of base on my feet and on my shoulder. Pull back on his hand like this here until I can get the shoulder lock, or open the arm enough to get my head completely out and stick it behind his back and restrain him, control him, submit him, however that way. 2 other considerations that you might come into. One is, well, what if he has your arm and you're never able to make that frame? right? Because this is gonna be a little more like a true case of Katami here. So he's here and he's wrapping my arm instead. So he's got my arm like this, and this is an inefficient frame here. You can't make this work just by itself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect my hands here behind his shoulder. I'm gonna scoot away from him, and as he scoots back here to join me like that, you'll notice that he brings his hips toward me and it helps dip his head a little bit. So as we go to do that, I'm gonna scoot back. As he goes to join me, I'm gonna bridge up here, over and across this direction, right? Now, I'm not pulling him laterally across me. Notice that whenever we're here and I scoot back, as he comes to join me, he lifts his hips a little bit, dips his head a little bit, and I'll bridge, push this connection of my hands up behind his shoulder, bridge all the way across, roll him up and over in an arcing fashion like that, okay? So that one's a little better if the guy's maybe more of a technical case of Katami type hold down rather than just trying to do a headlock or punch you or crush you. So anyway, guys, these are some pretty good options. Not an exhaustive list by any means. There's plenty of other situations that could occur in the headlocks position here, and maybe that's another topic for another video another time. So keep watching, guys. Like, share, comment, all that stuff. Keep watching Night Jiu-Jitsu and Aperture. Thanks a lot.